besides that year where Giannis undercut him. He looked good that year, but other than
He
that,
was fine. Yeah, he was
it's
fine.
been rough.
All right, so what are we doing? Number 9, we going Bulls?
I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's
9
fair.
Bulls. 8, are we going the
I think the
Raptors?
Nets should be 8. I think the Nets should be 8.
Honestly, I'm with Brad. I think they're 8. I think
Okay.
Toronto is going to be more consistently okay than Brooklyn is.
All right. So that's our top. That's our next list. We got a playing team and a couple low playoff teams. Let us know in the comment section down below. Do you guys agree with our list, or do you think that one of the other teams that are down here in this list that should be in that category? All right, let's do it. Moving on to the next round, 6 through 5? Oh, sorry, 6 through 4. Something
6
like
through
that?
4. I think 6 and 5 are their own tier, personally.
Okay. Who we got?
Just me. My number 6, I guess this might be another controversial one. People aren't going to like it probably, but Miami. I have number 6.
Whoa.
Miami at number 6.
That's
I honestly
funny.
thought
I
they
also
were.
have them there as well.
Oh, there we go, Bernie. I honestly thought they were kind of a fluky team last season, making it as far as they did. And I know that is, people have been saying that for years. They keep making it far in the playoffs. When are we going to learn? Stop being idiots and trust this team. But I didn't really like their offseason. I thought they played it a little too safe. I thought they were a team that definitely should have tried to do whatever they could have done to get Donovan Mitchell. He would have been a perfect person for this team. What it boils down to for them is their offense, man. I just hate their offense. And it was the same thing I was shouting from the mountaintops going into the playoffs last season. And they kind of proved me wrong and made it much farther. And they only lost to the Celtics based on that one crazy almost make by Jimmy. He almost made it, and they would have been a different story. But their offense is so bad, man. I'm not a Tyler Hero guy. I'm just not. I think he's perfectly fine as a 6 man. He's really good at that. But he is the definition of a turnstile on defense, and he is so inconsistent as a shooter, even though maybe not as a shooter, as an offensive total player. I think he's very inconsistent. His shooting is about the only thing that's consistent offensively. But the rest of their team is, I worry about how much mileage is on Jimmy too. I mean, he is doing everything for them the last few years to get them far, and we know his early career was just balls to the walls every minute with Tibbs. So I don't like their squad. I would love to see them play Nikola Jovic a little bit. I know that he's kind of one of their guys that, like, offensively, if they could get him moving. I know he's just a rookie, a low draft pick too, or what was he? He was late 20s, 27th pick, I think, in the draft this year. But he's an offensive guy they could use, man. It's just there's not a lot of creativity and shot making for this team. And Kyle Lowry was looking pretty old last season. He was looking pretty dang old and pretty chubby around the waist too. No offense, I could shed a few myself. So, but that being said, that's something to be concerned about. Yeah, I think Miami's clearly 6.
All right, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, I have Miami 5, but I wouldn't be mad at switching them. I actually that was a good spiel because I actually agree. I think that their offense is really hampered with just, they rely on Harrow too much. And I had Harrow last year on my fantasy team. He won 6 man of the year, won me a lot of games. Shout out him. But he's literally like they throw him in and they say create offense for the team. Like, because nobody else can create their own offense besides him and Jimmy. Bam Adebayo needs to step up and be more aggressive. But the reason I put them at 5 is because of Eric Spoelstra. I think he runs a really nice ship. He knows how to win games. Yeah.
They're gonna say the Jimmy Butler haircut.
Oh my gosh, I saw so many funny takes on that. Someone said he looks like Martian Manhunter with hair. Someone else said he looks like Tamari Carroll. Someone else said he looks like a wax figure cut out. Like, it was too many funny jokes about that. I really hope he doesn't keep it, man.
Yeah, that hair is a distraction for the team this season. That's something else.
Yeah, they're gonna lose games because they're too busy looking at his hair swinging.
I'm telling you, when I first saw him, this might be too deep of a cut for you guys. This is a weird reference, but when I first saw him, it honestly didn't look like he had eyebrows. with his hair the way it
Yeah,
was. And
yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, R.I.P. Whatever you think of him, XXX Tentacion the rapper. He had a phase where he shaved his eyebrows, and I was like, dude, why? What is this eyebrow shave? He looks like Super Saiyan 3 Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh
That's what
my
that's what
God.
I was seeing when I was looking at
Wow.
him. I was like, this is like the worst version of that, the
I
eyebrowless
see
look.
it. I see it now that you say it. Oh my
Let's go.
gosh.
There we go. I thought my late night, I probably had a couple drinks. I was looking at it, I was like, what the hell is happening here?
No, for real. I think Jimmy is a contrarian though, so he might keep it just to, trend on Twitter or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you guys. I think I also had Miami at this point as well, because I think the biggest question mark now becomes, for me, I think Jimmy Butler's still going to do his thing. Kyle Lowry not going to be necessarily giving you like 15 points, maybe that 13 where it says it on his stats. The biggest question to me is they have a situation where they paid Duncan Robinson a big contract. Maybe not big now because obviously the CBA and all that stuff. But
it's big for him.
But it's huge, and it's a huge moneymaker, and he disappeared. I mean, we were looking for him everywhere. I tried to look under my bed. I tried to look in my closet. I couldn't find Duncan Robinson in his game. Like, it just disappeared. And they had to go to Max Strauss, who, again, solid player. But when you pay Duncan Robinson that much, you're expecting him to make those threes that are supposed to win you the games, right? They do a bunch of different actions to get Duncan Robinson at the top of the three-point line and shoot threes. And he continued to miss. And they continued to say, well, if you're not really going to do anything for us, if you're not shooting it very well, then you're just going to stay on the bench. And I think they're going to need to figure something out with him, or they're going to need to trade him, because I think that when it comes to Duncan Robinson, if he's not bringing you the 3-point shooting that you need in the playoffs, he's a liability everywhere else. Like, defensively, he's a liability. Offensively, if he's not shooting, I mean, he's a net negative. And so they need to start figuring out really quick, Duncan Robinson, what are you going to do for us? What is your role on the team? Are you ready this year to be, I think he needs to be a 40 to 42% 3-point shooter this year to really be an effective player. Maybe,
to get
maybe
any
that's a little
stock
hard.
back,
Maybe that's a little hard. Maybe 38. I'll go 38%, but he's got to be high 30% to really be that guy.
That's about all he
I
does.
think he stays on the bench pretty much. They're just going to give his minutes to Victor, probably.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah, he was solid for them in the playoffs too, Oladipo. He started to look not like his old self, but he was definitely serviceable as a player for them.
Yeah.
They're going to need to trade him, man.
I would put this team in like top tier code red trade candidate. Like, I think this is like, if there's one team in the league that panics and says, hey, we need to shake something up right now, this is the number one candidate. Just because, like, God, man, I really don't see like another crazy run in the playoffs for this team. Like, it's just where's that coming from for them? Where is it even? Like, just listen to this lineup they have. Listen to their front starting lineup according to, this is on Real GM. Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Highsmith. Who even is this? Haywood Highsmith, 2 years out of Wheeling Jesuit, is their starting power forward. And then Bam Adebayo is their starting center. That's probably, this might be harsh, that's bottom 5 offensive team in the league, as far as I'm concerned. That's terrible. That's terrible. They'll be good on defense like they were last year. It's just, it's tough, man. And I honestly think Spoelstra just does not get enough credit. Like, that team has overperformed year after year, and then people think, especially Miami Heat fans think everybody's being harsh on their team. They're just being realistic about the players you have. You just have one of the best coaches. And again, another team that has a great GM, head coach situation. Whatever you think about Pat Riley has been there forever. I don't know if he's their GM. Is he? He is, isn't he?
President.
I think, he might be their president of basketball operations, but I feel like he's kind of their GM too. Yeah. Whatever it is, I hate this roster, but yeah, they're definitely better than those other teams. It's just roster-wise, they're not better than Brooklyn. They're definitely not better than Brooklyn roster-wise. It's just, you got to give that to coaching and continuity when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
No, what's everybody's number 5? You had them at number 5, but it sounded like you moved them to 6, Brad.
Yeah. So I would switch them with the Hawks. I have the Hawks up next.
Okay. Yeah. That is that's where I have the Hawks too. I have the Hawks at 5.
Hey, we all have the Hawks at 5.
There you
Let's
go.
go.
Made that
First one
real
we
easy,
agreed on.
didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take on the Hawks, Brad? I mean, do you like their roster? Do you think it's underrated? I think a lot of people are putting them bottom of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's a little unfair to them. They started slow last year, and I think getting DeJounte Murray will help their team a lot. I
Oh
like
yeah.
the idea of playing Trey off the ball. Um, you kind of run him like the Warriors run Steph Curry, run him through some screens, and he can get easy open looks instead of having to shoulder a whole offense by himself. I'm hoping that DeAndre Hunter can improve on offense. He comes from the school of OG Anunoby on that end, but hopefully he can, take some leaps. He showed it in the playoffs against the Heat with that 30-point outbreak. That was everything we need to see from DeAndre Hunter, just more consistently,
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think John Collins being healthy will help them win a bunch of games too, because he was out for a majority of the season with that freakish finger injury last year. Did you
Yeah.
guys see that picture?
Yeah.
Like his thumb looked like an
Oh
alien
yeah.
thumb. Yeah, like that, or finger pointer. It was all bad. Um, so yeah, I think the Hawks deserve a little more credit. I actually think, that they're going to be a pretty solid team and win a lot of games. They have no
Mm-hmm.
shot at championship though, but someone to look out for would be Jalen Johnson on their team. They
Yep.
got rid of Kevin Herter, so now he gets more minutes.
Yep.
Should have got minutes last year. They'll be fun to watch. I'll be watching them every night, honestly.
Yeah.
Good team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the DeJounte Murray trade for them. I thought that was just about the perfect move they could make as far as what they needed to address their holes on their team, which is defense and size. Realistically, that's what it came down to for them, is just getting more, big guards or just big defenders who can take up
Yeah.
some of Trey Murray's or Trey Murray. Lord. Good Lord. Trey Young's slack on defense, because I move all over with Trey Young as far as like where I put him in the NBA, because offensively about as good as it gets night to night, with between his passing and just the shooting. But the defense has always been so bad with him that I can't ever move them into like my top tiers, because I think it's such a limiter as far as like guarding any of these other teams. Like their best players tend to be their guards in a lot of these. Just in the NBA, the way it is right now, every team has good guards if you're at least competing for playoff spots. So I think he's going to make a huge difference for them. I still am not crazy about their big situation. I've never been a big Clint Capella person, and John Collins he's just maybe not as much of a shooter as you might need with
Trade
some
bait.
of the spacing. He's another trade bait. I still think they could have made a move to go get DeAndre Ayton. I would have loved that for this team.
Well, they might
And
now.
not that he's much better of a shooter. Maybe they will. I think he's such a great fit for them as far as
That pick and
growing
roll
with
would
the
be
team.
dirty. Oh
Be
my goodness.
disgusting. And he's an incredibly versatile defender as far as being a center
Yeah.
and being as big as he is. He doesn't get enough credit for being able to move outside of the paint
Mhm.
on defense. But we'll see with this team, man. I really like DeJounte Murray for them. They still have Bogdanovich, probably going to be their sixth man, which is about as good as you get with six men in the NBA right now. AJ Griffin was
Yep.
their draft pick at number 16. I kind of like them, like him for the team. 3-and-D wing, kind of big. AJ Griffin is another guy that I think might turn some heads. He didn't get nearly enough run at Duke last year, and the times that he did, he was pretty nice, man. He could have gone earlier in the draft than he did. He ended up sliding to 16. I was thinking he was more like 9, 10 range, maybe even 11, but they lucked out with him. They have the Holiday brothers. We'll see, man. This is a weird squad. I think they're going to be better by a little bit, but they're on the right direction to being a better team with DeJounte Murray. I like that a lot. I know I've said it 10 times, but he's one of my guys. I've liked him for the entirety of his time in the NBA, but he only gets better, and he's been on bad
Seattle,
teams.
stand up. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Kongwu, Bernie's guy. I love a Kongwu. Get him more minutes.
Yeah.
For real.
Here's the thing that I'll say about the Hawks. I mean, they're probably my I have a bunch of teams, but they're probably up there. They're likable. I think that's the reason why I kind of gravitate towards the Atlanta Hawks as like a roster and just as a team. I think, Brad, you're absolutely right. I think if DeAndre Hunter can take that next step, I think this team could be really good. Because if you really think about how And the reason why many years ago I said that they were the Warriors of the East facetiously is because I think that their makeup is similar. You have, I mean, again, the basics, the very outline of it, not the little details that are inside of it. But if you think about Trae Young, again, really good scorer, great passer of the ball, not going to be the best defender. Now that you add DeJounte Murray, you have DeAndre Hunter, those two guys can cover up the holes that Trae Young fills because of his defense. And it's the same way that Steph Curry is. And Steph Curry is a good defender, not a great defender, but he gets those guys like Andrew Wiggins, guys like Klay Thompson. Those guys play excellent defense and kind of let Trae Young or Steph Curry do his thing. And I think that's what you're going to get with the addition of DeJounte Murray. And you get a really good scoring rate from DeJounte Murray as well, and playmaking. That's like you have two playmakers now in that category. I think Bogdanovich as a kind of a sixth man is really good. I think that he'll kind of excel in that role. I think starting, unfortunately, as much as I liked him going into that draft when he was drafted, he's just a guy that's just going to come off the bench and be a really good scorer. And I think that's kind of where he's at right now in his career. John Collins, I'm a little iffy on him. I think he's a decent player, but I think that he still has some room to grow. And will he grow? That's the biggest question. And then, of course, you got Clint Capella, defensive anchor. And I think that's something that is missed when people talk about it. I kind of hope that they go Onyeka Okongwu starting, but at the same time, I think Clint Capella just defensively gives you a little bit more than Okongwu at this current rate. And, they have AJ Griffin, Pete, like you said. The guy is an amazing guard. We saw him in the NCAA tournament. He's a gamer, and that's what you need on this team. And so when I really look at it, the fact that you can consider this team anything lower than 5 is crazy to me, because I think this team is really good. I think this team has the tools and potential to honestly, I think they could potentially be an Eastern Conference upset, be in the Eastern Conference Finals in an upset at some point, depending on how things shake out. But
they certainly could be. I mean, they have the offense to do it. That's for sure. They certainly have the offense to do it. That's not even a question. They're going to score points, this team. Like they have that's kind of why I'm not a big Clint Capella fan. Like I would love if they had like a really great scoring center on this team. Like he's just not offensively. He's going to get you extra boards and get you more offensive opportunities, but I like their
at all.
not really at all. Yeah, that's tough. But having another really good playmaking guard on the team is probably going to help Capella too. That's not something I think about as much as I should, but DeJounte Murray will help him as well.
Okay, so we're going Miami, then Hawks. We've
and the Hawks.
On that. We made that one easy, and then
the
I
Hawks
said it
just
before.
trade Mo Harkless?
Yeah, did they? I think they did.
I thought they should have kept him. It's a good wing defender. I don't know why you would just kind of give him up for Vit Krasigi. I don't know how to say his last name.
Maybe they like his last name.
You need someone like Mo Harkless to help against Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, Mo Harkless is not a bad role player. Yeah, but if Jalen Johnson I was really low on Jalen Johnson coming into the draft. I wasn't crazy about him out of Duke, but I mean he is another guy who can shoot. He's big. He's pretty athletic dude. So we'll see. I know some Atlanta Hawks people who are fans who like Jalen Johnson quite a bit. So see if he can give
Frank
them
Kaminsky
anything
as well. Can't forget about Frank the
big
Tank.
Frank.
The Tank.
Vit Krejci.
All right.
Yeah, I've never.
How you say
it? I have no clue.
All right, let's move on to
number 4, Bernie. I'm going first for Bernie.
All right.
Number 4 for me is Boston.
Whoa,
that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. If they're a top 4, ooh, my goodness.
All right. Here's my rationale, Bernie.
Okay.
They don't have a head coach. Okay.
Besides Emma, what else?
Here's my rationale. Okay. I think for one reason, this is not power ranking these teams. This is regular season success, correct? This is a seeding prediction stream, Bernie. And my logic is whether or not you think Ime is going to make that big of a difference, having him or not, it will make a difference regular season. It will make a difference. I'm not saying it makes them a worse team in the long run. It really
Uh-huh.
doesn't. They're still incredibly talented. I liked a lot of the moves they made this offseason. I do think they need a little bit more scoring from their bigs. I loved Danilo Gallinari when they had him. They didn't have him hardly at all because he's out for the whole season. They got Carmelo. Did they get Carmelo, or was that just a rumor? Am I
That was a
crazy?
rumor.
Oh,
They got
okay,
Blake.
okay. Maybe I just dreamed it. It was Blake Griffin. That's who it was that they actually signed. I dreamed that it was Carmelo. I liked it if it was Carmelo more than Blake. Blake is dust in the wind as far as I'm concerned. He is beyond usable. But
Yeah.
here's what it comes down to, Bernie. And I'm gonna apologize to you first. I'm sorry I moved them down to 4, and I'll be straight up with you. I had them at 1 before the Ime situation. The logic is this: I think it will affect them in the regular season, and I think the other 3 teams I have ahead of them regular season are going to have better records. That's literally all it is. I like their roster a lot. I This is maybe the most controversial part of this that I'm going to say, and this is not fair of me to say, but it's just how I've always been a basketball viewer. I'm a body language person, a reader of what the chemistry, I guess, of the team, but more so just like
I need
the
to see this
karmic
degree.
balance of the team. Okay, yeah, I'm going to show you my degree in
Yeah.
mythology. No, I just didn't really like how they responded to losing in the finals, Bernie. I didn't think Tatum took it hard enough. Whether you think that's fair or not, I didn't think he seemed like he cared as much as he should have about not playing hardly anywhere near the level of good he is in the finals. Like he was not good when Andrew Wiggins was guarding him. He was getting absolutely cooked by Andrew Wiggins. And to just take it on the chin and be fine with it, there's plenty of people would say that's good sportsmanship, so on and so forth. I just don't think that's how the NBA works, man. I think you have to take it personally and come back with a vengeance if you're going to play better than you did the last season. And he was so good up until the finals that I was putting him in my top 6 coming into the finals. Like I was like, this guy is like, he's made it to the top tier of NBA player. And then he disappeared, man. He really disappeared. The last thing I'll say for them is I'm nervous for your guys' situation with Jaylen Brown. Not saying I think it's going to go to hell this season, but I do think there's a universe in which Jaylen Brown is not a Celtic in a couple years. The
It's 'cause he hung out
contract
with
that
Kanye.
Nope. The contract that Jaylen Brown is going to have to get is going to be massive. It's going to be gigantic. And the longer they wait to do it is a problem. The more trade rumors he's in, it's a problem. It just has to be talked about, Bernie. It has to be. You can't be trying to trade your best players every other month and expect them to be as committed to you as you hope they are, right? I think this team is definitely still my finals contender pick for the East. It's just the regular season. I think there's going to be some growing pains without Ime. And I think Ime, one of the most underrated parts of Ime is how much he changed your culture in terms of holding the players on the Celtics accountable, making them tougher in the regular season, and making them care about the regular season games, Bernie. What was something that you and Tyrese and all you Boston Celtics fans were so hard on the Celtics about for years, and I was the one defending them? It was how much they took it personally when they lost and people are standing on their home court logo and all these things. And who changed that? Ime changed that. And I think it's super important that he's not there, man. That's just my 2 cents on it. Maybe I'm crazy, but I like to have your head coach present for the season.
Brad,
Fair
who you got
take.
who you got number
That's
4?
fair. Number 4, I have the Cavs.
Boo! No,
I actually after I kind of want to move them higher after what you said, Pete, because
oh my
it's
gosh,
not bad. It's not bad.
conversation's
Yeah,
good here.
the reasoning is pretty sound, but I would push back saying that the Celtics, at as long as they have their core 4 of Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Horford, and Tatum, their defense is locked down. You can slot in any good to decent defender, and their defense would be probably one of the best in the league, and that's always going to win them games because you can't score on them in the half court, and then you have to deal with Tatum and Brown on the other end. But all the human stuff does play into it. I think the way they've been doing Jaylen Brown is pretty dirty. You can't keep throwing him in trade talks, and that contract situation will get messy. Um, But I love the additions of Malcolm Brogdon. I
Mhm.
think Blake
I do too.
Griffin isn't bad. Like he is dust in the wind, but for the purposes
A
of
couple
Rondo
rebounds.
always being hurt, yeah, a couple rebounds, take a charge here or there. I actually like the Jake Layman signing. I thought that was sneaky
Yeah,
good because
been
yeah, I
playing
think
well in the preseason.
yeah, he's actually a good player. I've liked him since he was on Portland, but he got shelved because Portland is terrible at developing people. And then in Minnesota is kind of, they had Ant and he got shelved again. And I think on the Celtics roster, he has a chance to showcase what he's good at, which is shooting. And he's tall, 6'8", 6'9", can
He's
pass a
super
little
long.
bit. He's long, yeah. So he fits into their scheme. So I actually like that signing a lot for them. And I think, they'll win some games. But switching